Indiana very well could do the impossible this year, but it might not be exactly what you think. As we're going to talk about how Fernando Mendoza sounded off a little bit, had a little bit of smack talk for some other team in the Big Ten, and there are some other teams in the Big Ten that are taking it not well, and it's a really fun thing to talk about. So we're going to get into all of it, but before we do, please do like, subscribe here at JR's Big Ten Football News. We appreciate everybody being here. The Indiana fan support has been excellent, so the more you support us, the more videos we're going to put out about your team, and there's definitely going to be a lot of Indiana videos coming because the Indiana fan base is by far the fan base that is supporting us the most here at JR's Big Ten Football News. Like, subscribe, tell a friend. Really, really helps us out. We appreciate it. So let's get to Fernando Mendoza. Fernando Mendoza, after the Maryland game, kind of sounded off a little bit with telling the media, and not necessarily, but speaking to the media about the game, and basically reiterated what I said. I guess he probably said it first. But I didn't hear it until just recently. So we've said the same thing without knowing each other said the same thing. But there are Big Ten fans, mainly Penn State and Ohio State fans, that have not liked what Fernando Mendoza said. Now, if you recall, just last weekend, Penn State fans and Ohio State fans were at each other's throats. They hated each other. Penn State fans were telling Ohio State fans that they were classless, that they were the worst fan base out there, that just basically they were the worst of the worst, and nobody should ever interact with them because Penn State absolutely hates Ohio State. But could the Indiana team bring these two fan bases together? Because we have Penn State fans calling for Ohio State fans to combine against this team when they play in the Big Ten championship. Because even though Penn State was upset with Ohio State, what they do, I mean, they did a number of things at the end of that one. Ohio State was chanting "Fu Penn State" at the end of the game, which and you have to understand where Ohio State fans are coming from here. Ohio State wanted to continue to play Penn State every single year. They wanted to make them a rival program. It's been kind of a rivalry that's developed over the time that they were in the Big Ten, and this is definitely here recently, but Penn State elected to be unrivaled instead of having a rival fan base or a rival team in the Big Ten, and that made Ohio State fans very upset. Penn State fans saying we're unrivaled, Ohio State fans saying you're too scared to play us. Then you have Ohio State and Usher talking to Chaz Coleman after the game on the field. Penn State fans think that they're trying to, collude against them and tampering and all this stuff. It was like an Usher. It wasn't like a coach or anything. And then also get Ohio State fans like chirping at some of the Penn State fans as they're going off the field. So I say all of this to say Ohio State and Penn State, a lot of bad blood this past week. They are not fond of each other at all. But Fernando Mendoza says one thing to the media, and now we have Penn State fans calling for Ohio State and Penn State fans to combine, and Penn State fans are asking Ohio State to go out and beat them in the Big Ten championship. So if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about here, I'll go ahead and pull it up. This tweet comes out from Mike Schumann of @TheDailyHoosier. There's a quote up there, but let's go ahead and just listen to what Fernando Mendoza has to say here.
And Maryland, their defensive game plan, it seemed like they want to take away our pass game, take away our RPO game, and take away our pass game to get a lot of depth in all the pass concepts we threw at them. And that opened up the run game. And when we have such great offensive linemen, as an opposing team, it's really tough to do that because we have one of the best run games in the country. So when you want to take away the pass, then all right, sure, we'll run 370 yards down your throat. So I think it was just a great testament to how complete our run game is and what a great job our offense.
So basically, Fernando Mendoza coming out here and saying, if you want to take away our pass game, we're going to utilize our run game. And Penn State fans and Ohio State fans were calling Fernando Mendoza cocky, arrogant. They were not too happy with the way he attacked this question. Personally, myself, I loved the answer to the question. He's confident in his teammates, and he's talking a little bit of smack, but at the same time, it's not so much he's targeting Maryland in the moment as much as he is just trying to say, look, I believe in my guys, and we're a complete football team. I don't have to go out there and play like a Heisman contender every single game. I don't think he was taking shots at anybody. I mean, I assume, Ohio State fans are going to feel that a little bit because they know their run game isn't super great this year, but that's definitely something that, Indiana could take some shots at, but this is not the way Fernando Mendoza operates. Like, he is not somebody that's talking to the media, trying to smack talk other teams. And of course, nobody else listens to the entire press conferences from other fan bases, so they don't know all the context around it. But I mean, this is essentially just what Fernando Mendoza has done the entire time to the media. He boosts up his teammates, he gives them credit, he gives his coaches credit, and he talks about how good the win was for the team and wants to emphasize it's a team thing, not just him, which is respectable as a teammate. It's definitely something you want to put out there. So let's bring up some of these other tweets really fast. I want to bring up. Okay, here it is. Big Ten Beyond, which actually, I like Big Ten Beyond. I've seen his content on Twitter and stuff. I don't follow him. There we go. We'll follow Big Ten Beyond really fast there. He said, "My Buckeye friends and fans, please do everyone a favor and truck these guys into a mud hole." Bringing Penn State and Ohio State fans together after just a week ago. They were absolutely at each other's throats. More so Penn State and Ohio State throats, but Ohio State was upset with Penn State too over the unrivaled stuff and everything. But I mean, you go through the comments here, and it's basically a whole lot of that. Like, we don't like them, and then the Hoosier fans are in there trying to defend them, and yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, this is all pretty pretty interesting stuff that these two programs could kind of come together because little old Indiana, they finally get a good coach, not just a good coach, a great coach in Kirk Cinetti, and he's threatening all of the Big Ten. Personally, I think it's a little ridiculous. Just go out there and win your games. If you're an Ohio State fan, why do you feel threatened by Indiana? Indiana is one of the worst programs in all of Power 4 history, and if they want to smack talk a little bit, let them smack talk a little bit. You took care of business last year against them. If you're confident in them, take care of business again. But I think the difference is I think there are Ohio State fans out there that recognize this is not last year's Indiana team. And I think there are some Penn State fans going into this game that they know they're not going to win this game, even though it is at home. Penn State is not going to win this game this weekend. Now, it might be a little interesting with some injuries and stuff like that Indiana has, but as we just saw the past few weeks, Indiana seems to have really good depth, which they have put on display, and they have other ways of winning rather than just sitting behind their Heisman level quarterback. So there's another tweet I also wanted to bring up and show you. And this one's by J Book. Like J Book a lot. I have had J Book on the show before, and he does a good job. Well, not this show, the Big Ten Huddle show, but yeah, J Book does a good job. He says, meanwhile, Julian Sayin talks about how they need to get better and there's more work to be done. So there is some a little bit of the Julian Sayin, Fernando Mendoza drama there because they're battling for the Heisman. I think Julian Sayin, after his last game against Penn State, has kind of advanced past Fernando Mendoza in the Heisman so far. We'll see what happens, but at the end of the day, I think Ohio State and Indiana fans both know whoever wins that Big Ten championship game is going to be the Heisman Trophy winner, or at least they should be. I guess Ty Simpson could be up there as well if he has a good game in the SEC championship or something. But most likely, the winner of the Big Ten championship game is going to be the winner of the Heisman. And you can see Ohio State fans, I don't think they think of little old Indiana like they did last year, kind of going to that one. Oh yeah, we're going to crush them. We're going to destroy them. And sometimes that's a defense tactic a little bit. But I think in this case, I don't think it's a defense tactic. I don't think this is one where they fully believe it. I think that a lot of Ohio State fans know that Indiana's a wagon this season, and this is going to be the toughest game that Ohio State faces this year, at least until the playoffs. We'll see what happens there. But Ohio State fans know this is a really big game that's coming up in the Big Ten championship, provided they both get there. Indiana does look like a scary team right now, and honestly, if you see Ohio State fans out there saying, "No way, Ohio State's going to kill them, they're going to destroy them. Look at last year, yada yada yada," just shake your head and move on because you'll have every opportunity to prove it. I think it's going to be a fantastic game when those two teams meet in the Big Ten championship. I think Fernando Mendoza is an A-plus quarterback. I think he's an A-plus human being. I think that he has just the right amount of smack talk for other teams, but also the right amount of praising his teammates and being behind his guys as well. I like this Fernando Mendoza kid a lot. I like this Indiana team a lot, and I think that we are in for a great end of the season as not only the Big Ten champion will come from either Indiana or Ohio State, but I think the national champion is going to come from that as well. We'll see what happens. These two teams could meet in the Big Ten championship and in the national championship as well. That's all I got for you in this episode of JR's Big Ten Football News and Rumors. Please do like, subscribe, help us out here, and we appreciate you being here. What are your thoughts on Fernando Mendoza, his smack talk, I guess you could say, to Maryland and the rest of the Big Ten? Really wasn't all that much smack talk as much as it was just him kind of praising his teammates, but they took it as smack talk, so we'll call it that. Appreciate you being here. Have a good one. See you next time.